All right. Let's do this. Maybe I've got, okay. I think I've got everybody in the frame. Hopefully. Well, I'll find out soon. Somebody will complain, I'm sure. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Louis B. Free Radio Show, Brain Food from the Heartland. I think every regular listener knows how we feel about now my dear friend Gary Morgenstein, the work that he does, and the people that he brings to the entertainment for all of us. And Gary, honored to know you, honored to be your friend. Welcome back.
I'm honored to be on the show, and I'm honored to work with such wonderful people, such gifted people as you see up here, because when you're in theater, the wonder of theater is you get to collaborate. You get to work with such gifted people who see your work in a different way sometimes, and emphasis and insights, and of course you take the credit. Oh, that's right, I meant that all along. But you know, and they bring this to life because that's what theater is about. So thank you for having us on.
It's always, like I say, it's always my honor to have you. Gary, just a little bit more about your background and as a writer, playwright, etc.
Well, I've never been arrested for a serious crime. I think that's always important to get it right out there. You know, nothing that really would, raise up too high. And I'm a novelist and a playwright, and I'm just so thrilled that A Tomato Can't Grow in the Bronx, which premiered in New Jersey in April at Center Players in Freehold, and then won 3 awards from the 3 Perry Awards from the New Jersey Association of Theaters, including Best Original Play and Best Actress. Andrea Bell Wolff is there, is now coming to New York, to the Chain Theater, December 2nd through 17th. And we have Jackie Kusher and Andrea Bell Wolff reprising their roles under the baton of my favorite living or dead playwright, director, Bernice Garfield-Szita. And we have four, because she only says I'm only a favorite living playwright, which I take, like when's the last new Shakespeare play? Anyone? Hello, Camilla. Hello. Just saying. And then we have 4 wonderful new cast members joining. We have Holly O'Brien, who plays Eleanor Abrams. We have Spencer Neumann, who plays Elliot Abrams, and we have Marina Rebecca Chan playing Madeline Kramer, who you remember she was in Black and White Cookie, and Mike Roche, who's plays Sammy Abrams, is in all places teaching in the Bronx today.
Wow, teaching in the Bronx today, where a tomato can't grow.
Yes.
So I want everybody, Gary, just a little bit about the play, and then I want to go around and get everybody to introduce themselves.
It's about, it's set in 1968 amid the tumultuous political, racial, cultural unrest. And it's about a working class Jewish family who wants to head out for the American dream and get their share. And I think what distinguishes this from a lot of entertainment nowadays is, Hollywood and theater and movies, television. Everyone is so focused on capturing messaging and categorizing and compartmentalizing and showing people as hyphenations. And they forgot the most important category of all, which is people. And it's really, when you leave a movie theater, when you put down a book, when you leave the theater, see a play, you remember the people who were affected by the messaging and the times, the ordinary people caught up in extraordinary times. And this is just about a family who love each other and kind of have lost their way about loving each other.
Beautiful. And it comes from, in your mind, we've talked about this, how you develop these. You just blow me away with that. I love when you said, I'll never forget when you said, the characters will tell me if I'm on the wrong track. And that's, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but they say, I wouldn't do that. Or, what are you writing? I love that.
Yes. It's just the door opens to the other side. And, you can believe whatever your faith is, and someone sends them in. And this is how they come. But then, as I said, with theater, it's different than writing novels, where that's it, done, end of story. But the play, these characters come in my head, but now they belong to the actors.
I love that. I know we've talked about that a lot. So, Bernice, let's start with you. Introduce yourself, if you would. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Bernice Garfield-Szita. And I'm the director of this wonderful play that Gary has generously given to us and the world. And I'm also the artistic director in Freehold for, a long time at Center Playhouse and Center Players. And aside from that, I'm also a psychotherapist using psychodrama. And the combination often works well because anyone who works in theater knows we're very emotional people. It really helps to have the insight and the experience of doing that. But I absolutely adore this play. I adore the actors I've been given the privilege to work with. And I'm very excited about coming to New York City. This has made me a commuter. And I now have a lot more empathy for people who say it's so hard to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, because I always worked very close to home in my practice. But I'm delighted to be here, delighted to be able to direct this wonderful play. And I'm hoping everybody who hears this will get on a train, bus, or whatever vehicle they have and come in to see us and share the pleasure of this wonderful play.
Jackie and Spencer, bear with me now. I've got to go finish ladies first. I hope you all don't mind. Yeah. Good morning. Andrea, good morning.
Good morning. I'm sorry.
No.
I put myself on mute because I have 3 dogs and I didn't want them barking in the middle of
see, now you've done it. Are we going to see the dogs? Will the dogs be coming in?
Well, well, 2 of them I actually locked in the bedroom at the moment because they're barkers. And one of them is just floating around here. You might end up seeing him.
I'm very, very easily distracted by animals. And when I do these on Zoom and someone will, there's one guy whose cat was walking behind him on the couch. And I had a tough time focusing on the interview because the cat was so cute. I kept saying, "Oh, look at the kitty." Oh yeah. So if we see one of the dogs, Gary, please pull me back and help me get it. So a little bit about yourself, Andrea, a little bit more, if you would.
Well, I've been acting since I'm 16 years old. And now that I'm just 18,
It's been a great 2 years, right?
Yeah. So on and off, actually my entire life. I've raised 2 children. I'm now a grandparent. This role came to me from Jackie Kusher, who plays my husband Harry in the play, and I auditioned, and it is just a wonderful role. And what I really love about this particular character that I'm playing is the fact that nowadays, when you're married and you're, for the most part, you find out that your husband is cheating on you and you're not happy. Women, they just go to their divorce lawyer and they move on. In the late 1960s, women were kind of trapped. They were housewives. They have a husband that's not faithful to them. They feel trapped and locked. And so for the most part, they grit their teeth and they just meddle through and try to keep it together the best they can. So this character, she has a lot to deal with. She has a husband who's not faithful. She's dealing with a daughter who has some mental issues in the past. And she's very complex. But I love playing her. It's a fabulous role. I think it's a fabulous play. I believe in this play so very much. All the characters that we have and all the actors are phenomenal. And it's just a joy. I'm just having the best time.
Wonderful. Marina, good morning. Good to see you in. You hear me okay?
Hi, yes, I hear you just fine.
Thank you. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marina Shan, and I am a playwright and an actor. And I guess as an Asian American performer, back when I was in high school, I realized that if I ever did want to pursue theater as a career, I probably couldn't just rely on getting parts as an Asian, because unfortunately there is still a dearth of roles for Asians. Things are slowly changing now, but I did realize that I should probably also try my hand at the writing side of theater. So in college, I did get my degree in drama and theater arts, and I concentrated in playwriting. And then after I graduated, after having focused on the writing side of things more, I was really excited to get back into some more performing. And then COVID hit, and I was doing all these Zoom productions for like 2.5 years. And so I am just so grateful to Gary, because A Black and White Cookie, which I was in this past summer, was my first in-person play since the start of the pandemic. And it was just amazing to be in the same room with other actors and to perform live for a live audience. And this is the second play I am in person since the start of the pandemic. And yeah, I just love the role that I play. I play Madeline Kramer. She is a real estate agent. And what's actually really funny is that in A Black and White Cookie, I actually played a landlord. So I feel like the universe.
Right.
The two roles couldn't be more different from each other. The role I played in Black and White Cookie, the landlord, was quite serious and quite rigid and super like put together and professional. Well, not to say that Madeline Kramer isn't professional. She is professional, but she's just really fun and generous and kind-hearted, and she can be a little ditzy. It's been very fun to play that. But she also can get a little anxious under pressure. And so that is where Spencer's character, Elliot, and Madeline, they help each other with their insecurities. And ultimately, they do lead the family in the right direction. So yeah, and I just want to say this has been such an incredible group to work with. Everyone has just been such a delight and so fun. And I've never really worked with a group that has like this much laughter.
That's
So
wonderful.
it's also been a joy for myself.
That's wonderful. Thank you for that. Holly, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Nice to see you all.
Tell us
I'm
Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm Holly O'Brien. I am also Holly Roche, as I'm married to Mike Roche, who plays my husband in the play. He plays Sammy Abrams, and I'm Eleanor Abrams, a married couple. Yes, I'm from Oregon originally. I went to performing arts high school in Michigan as an opera and theater major. And then I ended up going to college for musical theater, and in Connecticut, I should say. And I've been in New York now working as an actress for many years. And I actually met my husband, Mike, in acting in a play. So I'm thrilled that we get to work together now again in this wonderful play. I'm having the best time. It's a beautiful story, a family story. And my character is a little bit complicated. She has, I would say, a little bit of a perfectionist and kind of self-doubting personality, which is perhaps influenced by a certain member of her family. I'm not going to give that away. But there are some complicated relationships. But what I love about this story is that every character has a really strong need, and that need really stems from the overall love of the family and kind of wanting to find a way to bring that all together for a positive outcome. So it's just a really great piece, and I'm having the best time.
That's wonderful. You all seem to get along so well and praise each other all through. Spencer, good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
So my name's Spencer. I just graduated high school this past spring, and I'm from Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, born and raised. And I moved to the city this summer in pursuit of acting and the whole acting world and just kind of seeing what it's like. And I stumbled across Andrea's Instagram platform after she did a show at a theater in the city, and found out about the audition and had some emails with Gary, and it all just came together pretty quickly, and it was super surreal, and I'm still pinching myself every day that I'm here and I'm doing this. But this is my first production that I've ever really like stepped into with professional actors that are so talented and that have so much to give and so much that I can learn from. And I'm just trying to soak it in and take in the experience. And just chatting with my fellow castmates has just been wonderful. Just learning their experiences, their stories that they have, because it's just a vast expanse of like so much. And yeah, a little bit about my character. He's a pretty fun little dude. He's kind of learning. He's learning the works of like girls and what that looks like with Madeline's character, the character of Madeline, that Marina plays. We kind of have a funky little relationship, and there are a lot of awkward moments that I've kind of been able to dive into that are really fun. And he's just a very complex kid because he's trying to find himself while trying to keep his family together. And he's just trying to make his way. And I'm having so much fun, and I'm blessed. I'm very blessed to be able to do this with all these people. And so.
And Spencer graduated high school last year.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that blows me away. I very mature.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I just how you present yourself. And how driven
thank you. I
are
appreciate it.
and focused you are. Seriously. I was going to say,
wow.
geez, I remember graduating from high school, and then I'm thinking, maybe I don't remember. It's been 2 years ago. Or maybe I don't I don't want to remember. I don't know.
See, sometimes I think like, maybe I'm just, this is like such a big, like, it's crazy. I find myself just pinching myself walking through the subway turnstiles, and I'm like, how am I here right now? So I'm very blessed and blessed to be a part of this production that Gary has.
That's very cool.
Put to work.
Jackie, good to see you again.
Yes, same here. Listening to Spencer, I told him after one rehearsal that he was my idol. I feel like I've come full circle. And as I told Spencer, at 19, I did my first off-Broadway show. And a couple of years later, had a record with RCA, and then left, I did, little parts in movies and soap operas and TV, some Guiding Light and, some soaps. And long story short, fell in love and left it all for love. And here I am many years later, back. I actually met Bernice as a grief support counselor. And when I walked into Center Playhouse, I had lost my wife 5 years ago. And I just said, oh, she's telling me to pursue my second love. And the theater bug hit me. We did during COVID a Zoom production with Bernice, and being in the unions, I was like, I don't know if I could do this. But long story short, after that, a friend of mine who's a videographer, editor, who worked with Gary's former partner Russell on Joyland, the TV web series. I met Gary that way, and we did that on Zoom, 3 episodes, and my friend showed them a clip of me doing parts in Bernice's Zoom production. And it's amazing how things tie in with each other. And I sit back and I think, wow, I introduced Gary to Bernice, and Andrea. I've known Andrea for 40 years. She was my wife's best friend, and I would see her in her shows. She would come see me, and if I ever did a community thing, and here we are, 40 years later, finally on stage together. So that's a joy for me. And I'm just I've said it in many emails and texts. I feel honored and privileged working with these people. Everyone in this cast is so talented, and it's just a joy, really is.
I hear that over and over from all of you, and I'm wondering, I do these conversations in my head. Louis, you really don't want to ask that question. Well, I do, because I'm really curious about it. Well, then go ahead. Okay, I resolved that. Is it uncommon? And I don't want to mention any other actors, actresses, or plays, obviously, but you all seem to get along and have so much admiration and respect and fun working with each other. Is that common or uncommon? Does anybody want to? Are there been
I've had
plays
the experience
where
of
you
that
thought,
not being.
I'm
Louis,
sorry.
I've had the experience where it's that people have not got along, and it's been a train wreck. And so, yeah, so this is a little, it's not rare, but it's not as common as you might think.
Well, in this business, there's a lot of narcissism, I want to be a star, and I was happy. I would always say I really don't care to be a star. I would just love to make a living doing what I love doing, acting. And there are people that are that I've come across that are very difficult to work with. They're just focused on themselves, their part, and they don't want to socialize with the rest of the cast.
Anybody else?
Well, I just wanted to say that my background is group therapy. And actually, when we finally said we're going to do this in New York, I said, oh my God, how is this lady from the suburbs going to come in and work with all these wonderful professional people with so much experience? And I just said, well, I'm just going to do what I do the way I do it. And gratefully, they've responded wonderfully. We always work toward insight and, positivity, and trying to bring the best out of ourselves and everyone else. And luckily, we have six wonderful, healthy people. And nobody is acting out in a way that makes it difficult for all of us to do that. But I will say that over the years there, and I've been doing this for over 50 years. Over the years, I've met people that no matter what you did, they were unhappy, they were destructive, they were unkind. And when that happens, I always say it's like having a rotten apple in the barrel. And it's really hard to have a really positive experience with that. So I just feel very blessed that not only are these people some of the most talented and exciting people to work with, they're also just good human beings. And I always hope that we'll become a family when we're working, a healthy family. That
a healthy family
that not perfect, because nobody is perfect, but a healthy family that really wants each one of us to thrive. And that's what we have. And I know when we perform on stage, that's going to come through. People are going to feel the confusion at times, the angst at times, but the love will be a constant. And it's on and off the stage.
Bernice, don't you wish you could give everybody that wanted to be in a play something like, and forgive my ignorance, all I can remember is the, oh my God, I'm going to remember the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, the MMPI. I don't know if they still use it. I don't know. I can't, where did that come from?
Yes, it
where
would
you
be
could kinda,
nice to have them evaluated by a psychologist
prior to.
beginning, but we do
Yeah,
the
you
best
can't do
we
that.
can.
Yeah, but then no one would be cast. There'd be no writers. I mean,
We lose a lot.
No, look at how you all get along. I just.
Louis, I'd love to.
Go ahead.
Just to kind of chirp in a little bit. so I'll take a different angle at it rather than like what other experiences that have not been good. It's something for me that has been so good about this one that has kind of led to like the relationships being really strong. And I think is everybody is so good at allowing for, you know, others to try different things and to do, like, you know, tweak your character and tweak this and consult each other about it. And I was talking briefly with Marina yesterday about Bernice is very direct in her directing, and she's very straight to the point, and she tells you exactly what she likes and exactly what she doesn't like. And I think that is perfect, because that's exactly what you want. You want to know, okay, this was good and this was kind of like, we can change this. But she's at the same time, she's very open to trying new things. And so if I were to bring something to her, like, I want to try this, or how does this sound, or and she's very open to that and trying that out. And I think that just makes the camaraderie really just come together, and everybody can just gel in that. And I think that makes a huge difference.
That's wonderful. I love that. I love how you all get along like that and help each other. Bernice, I've known people in my life who you can't please them. They are attention seeking in a negative way. I call it the cheese ravioli analogy. This was now probably, oh my God, I don't know, maybe 35, 40 years ago, sitting at a dinner. I'm going to make this a brief, well, then make it brief, Louis. Couple sitting across the lot of people at this, and she orders something, some meat, and she said, didn't stick a fork in it or anything. She said, called the server over, said, this is too tough. This meat's too tough, whatever. Okay, what can we get you? And at the same time, by the way, I'm being not kicked under the table, but that I don't make any noises or don't. Bottom line is she orders cheese ravioli. Now you got to get this. She gets it. She cuts a ravioli. There's too much cheese in this ravioli. Okay, no cheese. I understand cheese and sausage. Cheese is better. Too much cheese in the cheese ravioli. And then sent that back, and the chef, it was just a nightmare. And obviously attention seeking, and then had that face for the rest of the dinner that you all know what I mean. So there are people, I've encountered people like that. It doesn't matter what you do. I say, just get away from them.
From a counseling perspective, we would say that's how they are seeking control. Because if you dislike everything, then you are the superior critic, and everybody hustles around trying to please you until they get so tired that they don't want to be anywhere near you.
Ironically, I didn't mention my character. Harry Simms is exactly that. He's someone who wants to be in control all the time. And he's in for, I would say, a rude awakening, but not really, an awakening of love around his family. And you talk about the camaraderie that we have that as characters too. We really interact like a real family would, whether it's conflict or love. Which is another thing I love about this play and working with these people. It's a joy. It's real. It's like not a play. It's real. It's real life.
Right.
Can I ask Holly a question? Because at rehearsal yesterday, there's a scene where she and Sammy, Mike, her husband, are fighting. And so I wondered, I know you're in character, but do you ever use the eye rolls that you would when Mike and Holly are fighting?
Oh,
that's what I wondered,
He's the nicest person on planet Earth, so we often don't fight. So you'll see that if you stay after the show and meet the cats. You'll see
Is that what Sammy told you to say?
Actually, Mike is very much like the character Sammy. The more I work with him, the more I could see that he could just go in and find his own mic to be Sammy, and we'd be cool. There's no problem with that, because he's just such a kind, caring, generous, non-critical person. It's a joy, and I could see why you guys are married. So
Mary,
sometimes that we look at people in my field and we say, okay, this is a handsome guy. He's got a lot of money. He's, drives a great car, but he is not a nice person.
He's
So-
stayed in the industry, so I have him to thank, because he talked me into staying in theater and in performing. I was considering moving back to Oregon, and he kept me here, so have to thank
That's
for that.
married how long, Holly?
6 years.
Good for you. For you. It sounds absolutely wonderful. Being back on stage, Gary, you and I've talked about it before, and you were mentioning, I know Marina mentioned it briefly, about pandemic and being live. And I don't know them personally, but Gary, when you and I've talked about the struggles, I mean, and we've talked about doing the Zoom, there's got to be nothing like a live audience, and getting on this side, I guess I should say, hopefully, of the pandemic, and being there with people. And this isn't obviously the first time, Gary, but it's got to be very, very rewarding. You get something from the audience.
Oh, yes. I mean, there's a special energy when there's an audience, when there's a crowd. It's even though the mandate is still this to where you have to wear masks off Broadway. So being the neurotic writer, I'm worried that I won't hear the laughter, but or you don't, or from your stage, I mean, I want you to talk about when you look in the audience and you don't see people, their expressions. I mean, I would like the actors to talk about that.
Who wants to weigh
Andrew
in?
and I were talking about that the other day.
Okay, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to run in a few minutes, but I just wanted to say, I just did a musical comedy one-woman show at the AMT Theater it's in off-Broadway's Black Box Theater. And it was so difficult to be looking out at the audience and just seeing masks and not being able to hear the laughter or seeing the expression on the people's faces. It's almost like you're doing it to nobody, because what a different dynamic it brings to the performance. But there's some things that we have no control over, and we have no control over this. So we just have to go with it, do the best that we can, and just imagine that behind those masks, they are smiling and they are laughing, and that they are enjoying this phenomenal play that they are going to be seeing.
Mhm.
Anybody else on the mask pandemic, not seeing faces, not seeing expressions? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to share that when in our little theater, when we do a production, whoever is the director comes out and talks to the audience and, welcomes them to the production and so on. And one of the things that I realize is many times our audiences are over 50, going even into 80, 90. And I think about, what was going to a play when I was a young child in auditorium, let's say. You were not allowed to make any noise. You were not allowed to laugh even out loud that much. You just quietly watched. So one of the last things I always say when we're doing a comedy, and you're allowed to laugh out loud.
Right.
And they do. It's like, oh, you mean I could just let it out?
Yeah.
Yep. And they do. So with or without a mask, we'll hear it, Gary. We'll hear it. I believe we'll hear them.
I agree.
Definitely. With the black and white cookie, I remember there was one particular night where there was this one person, and he did have a very loud laugh. Not to say we could hear when people laughed, for sure, But what was interesting was this person laughed in certain places where no one else had laughed before. So that gave an interesting, like vibe to our performance, because of course we are going to be reacting a little bit differently. So yeah, with our show, we tend to laugh in certain places, but I'm really excited to see where the audience laughs and to feed off
interesting.
of that energy. But I didn't really mind, I guess, the masks. I don't know. For me, it was just so amazing to be back in person that, even if the audience members were masked, like I was like, that's fine. We can still hear them laughing. It's all good.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. At least you can hear them. You may not see the expression. Well, the laughing eyes. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. But at least you're able to hear them laugh. Andrea, you said you had to go soon.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I apologize.
I
Thank you
started
very
late, so
much for having us, and I wish
my
you
pleasure.
lived
Yeah.
close. And could
So do
come
I.
see
Oh,
this.
for a lot of reasons. I wish I lived close. For a
All
lot of
right.
reasons.
Well, take good
And
care
we-
and have a great holiday.
Thank you.
We'll see
Thank you. You
everybody
also.
tonight on Zoom.
Can can everybody else stay another 10
Sure.
minutes or so?
Absolutely.
Andrea, thank you so much for that. Thank you. Opening night, Gary, tell us what, I mean, I've got the information. I've got it posted, wfmj.com, louisfreeshow.com, louisbefree, whatever, all those places. But tell us a little bit. Opening night, December.
Is Friday, December 2nd through Saturday, December 17th. And next week we load in. And I mean, Bernice could tell you what that's like.
Well, we're working in a black box, but we're not doing a black box performance. We're actually
I'm sorry, can you explain that?
Okay, a black box often is all the walls and the floor are painted black.
Okay.
And people do a production by suggestive furniture, a couple of props and so on, but it's not a typical set the way you do a full set. But in this case, we're bringing the entire set from tomato can't grow in the Bronx via moving van. And we will have our antique stove and refrigerator and all the furniture, including my mother's dining room table. That's part of the set that she got in 1932 when she got married. And we always use people's personal things on the set. It kind of makes it even more homey and more loving, because we feel that person is watching and sending love through their particular item. So we have candles from somebody, we have a table, we have whatever. My husband, who is Bob, he's not on this, but he's kind of always been my producer and my love for 37 years. And his father was a painter, and so his father's painting is in the second act as a part of the set. We have somebody wonderful building our flats or walls here in New Jersey, painting them, getting them all ready, and his name is Kirk. Thank God for Kirk. Tibbet, he owns he's a wonderful construction person, and everything's coming down to the coffee cups and the whatever we had on the set in New Jersey is coming to New York. The greatest question I have is, will I feel the need to paint the floor so it's not black? Silly thing I think about, we may not. We'll see how it works on the stage. So that we are doing a full set, and I think, and fully costumed in every way. So from 1968, Marina will be a hippie.
Yay, yay.
Grandma's going to be in a schlumpy, which means like not so exciting house dress. A schmata, yes, a rag.
Yeah, yeah.
And Harry will be dapper, because he's a strong character. And Spence will transform from Elliot, will transform from a nerdy kid to a confident young man. And it'll all be through all the varying pieces of the production, the lights, the sound, the set, the clothes, costumes. It's very exciting.
Sounds like, Marina, I've got some old hippie t-shirts. I don't know whether they're old hippie clothes I have that are way older than you, that I can't discard. They're ripped up and torn and well worn, so I don't wear them out, but they're precious to me. Old tie-dye t-shirts, way from that era. Whoa, just made
I
me
still
think.
have my bell-bottom jeans, but I can't
Well,
close the waist.
You can't,
wish I
what,
had-
you can't close them?
I wish I still had some of it. You don't know when you're in it that you should save it. Of course, I'd be overwhelmed. Then I'd be hoarding, I guess. That is the term. Opening night for you all. Anybody want to talk about what is, obviously you're well rehearsed in this play. In the Bronx, you know it. You get along with each other. Is there extra? I almost don't want to use the term anxiety, Bernice, right? Because when I look up anxiety, people say I'm anxious for this. Well, you're really eager. You're not anxious. And the older I get, the weirder I get with verbiage. But is there a heightened sense on opening night that isn't there after opening night? I don't even know how to describe it because I don't do it. Like a special a nervousness. Anybody?
I'd say there's just a bit of excitement and a different energy that kind of comes in. For me, I get just, I really just hone in on what my character's need is and kind of just focus on that. And, but yeah, there's definitely like an undercurrent of excitement.
Mhm. Well, we will have a dress rehearsal, which the way I've always directed is that the dress rehearsal is number one performance. It's performance ready, so that you get through that. It gives a certain amount of confidence that we're going to be cool and smooth opening night. But the reality is that as a play evolves over the however number of performances, it gets better and better and better, deeper and stronger. And I expect that will be the case here. As people feel more and more comfortable and confident, it gets even better than it was even the very first night. You don't get tired of it. Believe me, when you're waiting backstage, and I've done both direct and act, there's always a question I ask myself, which is, why did I ever say I would do this? Are you crazy? But then once you're out on that stage and you feel that loop of energy with each other and the audience, it's the best feeling in the whole world for those of us who love to do it. So I think it gets better and better, in my opinion.
Would everybody else pretty much agree with that? Gets better and better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't go to rehearsals primarily because I trust everyone. And I'm like the least important person there anyway,
Wow.
because
Okay,
I
I see
trust
what you
everyone.
mean.
You don't,
Yeah. I
yeah,
get what
and
you
they
mean.
don't need to look at, to ask me how it's Bernice first. It's Bernice's.
Yeah.
Bernice is the boss, not me. But and I don't want to see dress rehearsal either. What I look forward to opening night is try to experience as the audience, to see it for the first time. And what I could say about this, the little I have seen of this cast, like yesterday, all too often when I've watched rehearsals or watched a performance of my play, the script is passed in front of my eyes. And I mean, Marina as a playwright might understand that feeling. As they're reading it, it's a ch, ch, ch. And with this gang, that doesn't happen, which is wonderful. It's like there's no script. There's just they are. And you want to talk about sounding hippy dippy and but they just are. And so I want to experience that opening night and have as much innocence as I possibly can.
Gary Morgenstein, when you say that, well, let me ask you, Bernice, is that unusual for the playwright not to be there and say, look, it's in your hands now?
Most of the playwrights we've worked with are not even alive sometimes.
Oh,
They're in
well, other than us.
a different state or
See
whatever.
again, favorite living or dead playwright.
Living or dead.
Yes.
But what I've learned over time is that there are different levels of performance. There's the, role taking, which you given a role, you try to figure out what the role is, you work with the script. Then there's the role development, where you go inside and you try to find out, how did this person really feel in this moment, and how can I express it out to the world? And then there's the role creating. And Spencer is someone who he just naturally went bing, 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 bing to being very creative very quickly. Most people are so nervous. They're reading their script. They don't want to mess up a word. They finally learn the script. It's when you feel the character and you're there 100% as that character, you get the best performance. And we are very blessed with people who've moved through that process very quickly. That's what I believe the audience is going to feel. And there is no script. You are that person on the stage. You just, you know the lines, but it's from inside 100%. The soul of that character comes out. Then you know you have a great performance. Not just the words or the action or the blocking or whatever.
And that also reduces, tension, anxiety, because you become that character. So if the line is not correct or not in the right place, as that character, you would know how to come back and correct it, or bring it back. Yes, bring it back on track. It's
Right.
That's a comfort level of
because you know who you are in that moment. And so maybe we don't have the perfect word that Gary wrote, but we'll have the content and the intent of the character. So there's a confidence that, I also personally would feel I left Bernice in the wings and I became that person. It was very freeing.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Whatever my concerns as me were left to the side. But when I was that character, that's who I was, 100%. And that's a joy when you feel that.
At the Chain Theater, right, Gary? Anybody
Yes,
want
December 2nd through 17th.
Yeah, that's good.
And there'll be talkbacks following the performances of December 4th and 11th.
On Sunday matinee and a Wednesday matinee. I really feel like we're theater people doing a Wednesday.
Yes.
And a Thursday night performance for those people who work in the city and just want to pop in.
We'll be doing this round the clock.
It sounds like a lot of performances. Well, what an honor to have you. And by the way, we've got links up to get tickets at theatermania.com. Well, the links are up at louisfreeshow.com, theatermania.com for Gary Morgenstein's wonderful play and cast and director. Gary, I'm just blown away by you. And the more
it's my pleasure to be here. And if I just in closing, can I say,
please, you can
again, going back to what entertainment, circa 2022, and the strongest power is not some, DC comic or Marvel superhero with the CGI. The strongest power is love and emotion. And it's the love of a parent for a child and a wife for a husband. And, the love that gets misplaced along the way and found. And that's what we can all identify with. When we premiered in Freehold in April, and we had the talkbacks, and the audience afterwards, and it was very mixed. It was just ethnically, racially mixed. And people would say, that's my family. That's like my grandfather, my mother, or and that's what you want. You want to be true to the nature of what a family like this would be like in 1968. But you also want it to be universal. And that's what everyone aspires to make it, that everyone can identify no matter your background. And I think that's an important, and I don't want to say lesson, but that's an important element in our world, because there's so much attacks and polarization and finger pointing and siloing of everyone by all the many measurements that everyone uses. But at the end of the day, we're just people.
Yeah.
And that's it. We're just all people, and we are different people, but the things we have in common outweigh the things that divide us.
Yeah, we need to look for those in each other. I agree. I agree. A wonderful opportunity for people in or near New York City, or fly in, drive in, bus in, cab in, whatever. Take the subway, wherever, depending on where you are. It'll be wonderful. And Gary, if you aren't familiar, it's the first time with Gary Morgan. He's brilliant playwright, right? Bernice, he's your favorite.
Yes, he's a very
Living or dead.
complicated guy. Very complicated.
Says my therapist,
Your therapist. That's great.
I
Spencer, any?
actually asked him, Louis, have you been in therapy? You have such insight. And you say, my work is my therapy.
Therapy.
My writing is
Wow.
therapy.
Yeah, I could hear Gary saying that. You're right. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Spencer, any closing comments?
Yeah, I mean, it's an honor to be on with you guys, and to get to talk over, everything tomato can't grow in the Bronx. It's just, I'm blessed and honored to be here, and getting to tell Gary's story is such a pleasure, and like Jackie mentioned, this is my first show in New York, and I wouldn't want it to be any other way. So
Beautiful. Marina, anything you'd like to say? Anything you want to weigh in?
Yes, I'm glad that Gary spoke to the universality of the play, because that was another thing that maybe I would have mentioned as well, and that this is a play that's set in a specific time period setting, but it is very universal and also very cathartic. So, we're in 2020s now, but you can totally relate to these characters. They're just so real in their complexity of their own emotions and their struggles and their dreams, and also so real in their interpersonal relationships. And for me, just seeing how they grow throughout the play, and I guess where the characters start and then where they end in terms of how they've overcome their struggles and how they've worked on their own relationships with each other. And, love is the thing that wins. It's
beautiful.
a powerful thing. That it's these times that are that continue to be so
challenging.
That's
the easy word.
Divisive. So it's a very powerful and cathartic play.
Beautiful. Holly, anything?
I just want to say I'm also so grateful and blessed to be a part of this. I think it's a beautiful family story. Great for the holidays. I think it'll really inspire a lot of people to better themselves, or better their personal relationships with their families. And I think it's really touching, and definitely a wonderful piece, and so lucky to be part of it.
I've got to ask you, Holly, any relationship to the singers?
I'm sorry, which singers?
Your last name, the singers. That's okay. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have gone there. There's some singers I remember buying the albums years ago. Yeah, you should check it out. I'm
the only singer in my family.
Your husband's family.
His family.
Singer, yeah, I don't know.
No,
I'll turn you on. So I'll get Gary the information. I'll get it to you. Jackie, any thoughts?
They have all said it very eloquently, and I'm just really looking forward to getting on stage with this wonderful play, and may the sun shine on us in Manhattan.
Beautiful. That's going to be great. I really appreciate you all. Gary, any closing comments?
No, that's it. Thank you again, my
Bernice,
friend. Happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone.
It's truly my honor to have you all on. I love doing these. Gary, anytime. Thank you all. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. And it is coming up a week from Friday. Again, I've got those links up it's coming up soon. A week from Friday. It's December already. I mean, I'm